to. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Endi Berazali and my student ID is 217812912. Thank you. Bye.
Assalamualaikum. I am Nurhida binti Yaakob. My ID is 2017495626.
My name is Yuliana binti Muslim and my ID is 2017860594.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Hawa Nazira binti Muhammad Shukri. You can call me Hawa. My student ID is 2017601462. Nice to meet you.
China is the world's most populous country with a population of around 1.4 billion in the 2019. China, officially the People's Republic of China, are covering approximately 9.6 million square kilometers. It is the world's third or fourth largest country by area. The country is officially divided into 23 provinces, 5 autonomous regions, 4 direct control municipalities, Beijing, Tianjin, Shanghai, and Chongqing. In the 1st to 19th century, China has emerged as one of the world's first civilizations in the fertile basin of the Yellow River in the North China Plain. China was one of the world's foremost economic power for most of the 2 millennia. Then, from Xia dynasty for millennia, China's political system was based on absolute hereditary monarchies or dynasties in 21st century BCE. Since then, China has expanded, fractured, and reunified numerous times. And then, for Xia dynasty, it changed to Han dynasty in the 3rd century BCE. The king reunited core China and established the first Chinese empire. We can say that there is a lot of changes from Han dynasty to Tang dynasty and Northern Song dynasty. The invention of gunpowder and movable type complete the 4 great inventions. The era changed to the Qing Empire. China, last dynasty, suffered heavy losses to foreign imperialism. The Chinese monarchy collapsed in 1912 with the 1911 revolution. Flag of China. There is a 2 color, yellow and red, and there is 4 small stars and 1 big stars. For the red background, it means stands for the revolution. All the martyrs sacrificed their life to build the new China. And the yellow color of the 5 stars, it means stands for the Mongoloid race. And the biggest star means stands for the Communist Party of China, leaded Chinese populace to establish the new China. And the 4 small star, it means stands for the working class, peasantry and urban panty, bourgeoisie, national bourgeoisie of Chinese populace. Currency of China. Official currency. One of the world reserve currency is the renminbi. The word that is used to refer to the Chinese currency generally, especially in international contexts, is yuan. The renminbi is issued by the People's Bank of China, the monetary authority of China. The country of China currently is leading by Xi Jinping. He took the office in March 2013. The office was first established in the Constitution of the People's Republic of China in 1954 and successfully held by Mao Zedong and Liu Xiao. The government of the People's Republic of China is collectively the state authority in People's Republic of China, PRC, under the exclusive political leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. The National People's Congress, NPC, highest state organ with control over the constitution and basic laws, as well as over the election of supervision of officials of other government organs. The NPC Standing Committee, NPCSC, permanent legislative organs that adopts most national legislation, interprets the constitution and laws, and conduct constitutional reviews. The president acts as a ceremonial head of state in compliance with decisions made by the NPCSC, but they exercise an independent power to nominate the premier.
The first activities that be recognized by all countries in the world is automotive and electric car industry. China is the world's largest automobile producer, manufacturing more than 27 million vehicles in 2018, make China the world's largest automobile producer. They began exporting car parts in 1999. China's automotive industry has been so successful. The second economic activities that also been known by other countries is the telecommunication industry. It's dominated by three state-run businesses that are China Telecom, China Unicom, and China Mobile. China now has 2,084.3 million fixed-line subscribers and 1.01 billion of mobile customers in March 2012. There are a lot of cultural activity that being celebrated by people from China. The first one is Dragon Boat Festival, which is a folk festival celebrated for over 2,000 years when Chinese people practice various customs through to dispel disease and have a good health. It will celebrate on month 5, day 5 of the Chinese lunar calendar. The second cultural activities is Lantern Festival dates, which is on 15th date of the first Chinese lunar month. Lantern Festival custom and activities vary regionally as China is a vast country with a long history and diverse culture. Market overview of China. China is the second largest global economy, the largest exporter, and has the largest exchange reserve in the world. However, although China has one of the fastest growing GDP in the world, economic growth has slowed to 1.9% compared to 6.1% in 2019 because of COVID-19 pandemic. The 2019 context is already the result of the structural slowdown as the economy moves away from investment-led growth model and the government implements policy to reduce financial weakness. New sectors such as e-commerce and online financial services are gaining momentum in an economy dominated by export-oriented sector. By the end of 2020, inflation will reach 2.9% and it should remain stable at 2.7% and 2.9% in 2021 and 2022. Despite the sharp economic contraction, the unemployment rate is expected to edge only slightly upward to 3.9% in 2020. There are a lot of market challenges in China. The first challenge is intellectual property right, IPR. As we all know, China has been long a source of counterfeit goods marketed worldwide. 80% of the world counterfeit goods are come from China. The second challenge is sale and distribution challenge. With 1.4 billion people, there are customers for any product in the world. But the challenge is to find the right distribution channel to reach them and know how to manage this channel. There is a still gap between Chinese distributor and Western brand. Many brands have been abused by their distributor due to they have a history of selling copied and counterfeit product. But don't worry, there is also a market opportunities of China. Firstly, supplementary education. China parents are increasingly choosing to send their children abroad for secondary education in foreign university. In 2018, there was 13,600 Chinese students enrolled in Australian schools. The second market opportunities of China is the healthcare. As we know, Chinese people are very concerned with their health, as the increase in wealth often comes with an increase in lifestyle disease. Business and meeting ethics in China. Firstly, you must focus on greetings. In a formal business meeting, you will be offered a handshake. This handshake must be started by your partner from China. It will be good if you can start your greetings by saying, "How are you?" or "Nice to meet you." The second one is about the conversation topic. Talking about your positive impression of China in every aspect is always welcome. Just talk a safe topic with them, such as climate or food. The third one is about the giving gift. Chinese people believe that if they are receiving gifts such as clock, watches, or green hat, it's like a curse to them. The fourth one is about the lose face or gain face concept. Chinese people always want to save face and never want to lose it. So you need to pay attention to elder and rankings. Be careful when you commenting with a strong negative statement. The last one is about addressing. Regarding any position or age, most people should be addressed with their titles, followed by their surname.
Do's and don'ts for conducting business in China. Do. First one is research and information. Should take part in their trade mission with the government agency if first timely visiting China. Secondly, meeting and negotiation. Making a special business card with two-sided English and Chinese language by specifying company name, professional title and qualification. While in the meeting, to bring our own interpreter when making negotiating is important to help you to understand every content and both explicitly between lines. And the third, hierarchy and face. Acknowledge their thought empathy on grounding in Chinese business culture that will show respect and clear. As such, shake hands, speak aloud, and lead the discussion. Second, meeting and negotiation. Certain China people do not use English language during business meeting, and be careful with your words while spoken in English language because someone may understand the language. Third, hierarchy and first. Don't embrace Chinese people by making executive lose face. It can be harmful to successful negotiation and telling them that you don't owe them your respect. China. In the global economy, China's successful growth since the beginning is unexpected. This was a substantial contrast with the production of other intermediate economies in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. In the years 1979 to 2009, China export growth to 19%. At the beginning of the period, China made to 8% of global exports to goods and non-factor service. Next, China is the big exporter to goods in the world with a 9.6% and 8.4% share of the goods for non-factor service. China is still known as a low-income country during 1980. The fact income per capita in China country was only 30% of the average sub-Saharan African country. Now, the level of sub-Saharan Africa and China is well established as a middle-income country that is over 3 times. History of South Korea. South Korea, or officially the Republic of Korea, is a country in East Asia, constituting the southern part of the Korean peninsula and sharing a land border with North Korea. Consists of 55 million people. Around half of the population live in the Seoul capital area. Seoul capital area is the 5th largest metropolitan area in the world. Also, consists of 9 provinces and 7 metropolitan cities. Early 7th century BCE, the first kingdom recorded in Chinese record, following the unification of 3 kingdoms of Korea into Silla and Balhae in the late 7th century. 918 to 1897, Korea was ruled by the Goryeo dynasty and Joseon dynasty. In 1910, the succeeding Korean Empire was annexed into the Empire of Japan. However, in 1948, became the Republic of Korea. After Second World War, Korea was divided into Soviet and American administered zone. In 1950 to 1953, invasion of North Korea to country's economy began to soar. In a year 1980 to 1990, recording the fastest rise in average GDP per capita in the world, the country largely ceased to be an authoritarian state after almost 4 decades ever.
These are the elements of the flag of South Korea. Number 1, the red half represents positive cosmic forces. Number 2, circle in the flag center represents balance in the universe. Number 3, the blue half represents the opposing negative cosmic forces. Number 4, the flag's field is white, Korean traditional color, which means purity and peace. And lastly, as seen in the picture, the trigrams represent movement and harmony as fundamental principles. As seen on the slides, these are the currency of South Korea. Using South Korean won as their currency, the won is a decimalized currency divided into 100 won. The won is no longer used for ordinary everyday transactions. And for practical purposes, the lowest denomination of South Korean currency in use is 1 won. Government of South Korea is a centralized democratic republic with the 3 primary branches of government, which is the executive, legislative, and judicial. Whereas the president acts as the head of state and it is the highest figure of authority in the country, followed by the prime minister and government ministers in decreasing order. The executive and legislative branches operate primarily at the national level, although various ministries in the executive branch also carry out local functions. And lastly, the judicial is a branch operates at both the national and local levels. Born on January 24, 1953, Moon Jae-in is the current president of South Korea, having taken the office in 2017. He previously served as Chief of Staff to then President Roh Moo-hyun, leader of the Democratic Party of Korea, and a member of the 19th National Assembly. One of the top economic activities in Korea is tourism. In 2010, 8.5 million tourists visit Korea, and in 2012, 11.1 million foreign tourists visited South Korea, making it the 20th most visited country in the world. Due to Korean Wave, or known as Hallyu, popularity increasing in Korea, the number of tourists, especially from China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Southeast Asia, has grown dramatically. The automobile industry is also one of the popular economic activities in South Korea. In 1980s, the automobile industry was one of South Korea's major growth and export industries. In 1989, total investment in car and car component manufacturing was over $3 billion USD. The total production, including buses and trucks, are totaled 1.1 million units and grew to an estimated 1.3 million vehicles. They had produced passenger cars to approximately 846,000 units. Known as the Korean Thanksgiving Day, Chuseok is one of the biggest harvest festivals in Korea and typically coincides with the autumn equinox. It is a time for family reunions, and during this time, Koreans often travel back to their hometowns. According to popular belief, Chuseok originates from Kabe, which is started during the reign of the third king of the kingdom of Silla, when it was a month-long weaving contest between two teams. On the day of Kabe, the team that had woven more cloth won and would be treated to a feast by the losing team. The Seoul Lantern Festival usually takes place in November along the 1.3-kilometer stretch of the Cheonggyecheon Stream in Seoul. For the past 11 years, since 2019, Seoul Lantern Festival has been brightening the city. For the year of 2020, the Festival of Hope is held to give the light of hope to Seoul's special tourist zones going through economic difficulties without vivacity by the outbreak of COVID-19. As seen on the screen, these are the summary of the car market overview in South Korea. In the beginning of year 2020, South Korea experienced a dramatic decline due to COVID-19. Public transportation usage in the country declined 51% for express buses, 56% for railroad trains, and 15% for highway traffic between February 21st until 24th, compared to the same period last year, as reported from the Korea Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, or the MLIT. As for the grocery food sales, it grew 98% from January 20th to February 20th. The value of the Korean won in terms of the real effective exchange rate will decline by about 4% in 2020 and change a little into 2021, according to Korea Development Institute. Despite the sharp economic contraction, the unemployment rate is expected to edge only slightly upward to 3.9% in 2020 from 3.8% in 2019 due to the drastic fall in the labor force participation rate.
We have two market challenges of South Korea. First, local competition. Foreign companies often face stiff competition from domestic businesses, which may put pressure and force prices down. One of the sectors where this problem often occurs is the sales of pharmacy. Second, resistant to foreign businesses models. South Korea has great respect for tradition. The way of doing businesses is deeply rooted in Korean culture, which is heavily influenced by Confucian forms and dominated by men. All healthy men are required to complete compulsory military service, so this discipline and hierarchy is often reflected in the commercial environment. Next, market opportunities of South Korea. First, English language education. The South Korean government has emphasized the growing importance of English language in education. It has influenced by only students but also employers who wish to strengthen their employees' English language skills as a result of globalization. Second, the product, packaging, design, and branding identity. Korean consumers have a rapidly changing appetite and a strong desire for products with innovative designs. In addition, South Korea exports companies are forced to continue to provide goods and services featuring high quality and innovative designs to compete and differentiate themselves in the global market. Business and meeting ethnic in Korea. First, respect, age and status. Respect for age and status is important in Korean culture, which hierarchies influencing all aspects of social interaction. Second, bowing and handshake. Koreans bow to those who are senior to both in greeting and in greet and respect. Third, business card. Exchange of business cards was an important part of the initial meetings. This allows Koreans to quickly determine important position and rank from their peers while still standing, politely hand over the business card with both hands. Fourth, gift giving. In Korean, the importance of relationships can be expressed through the gifts. Fifth, dress code. Appearance is particularly important in Korean. Koreans tend to dress very formal. And don'ts for conducting businesses in South Korea. For those, first, age and status should be respected. Different grading in Korean give impact to all social interaction. By showing respect in age and status is the key in Korean culture. Second, meeting for the first time. In Korean businesses culture, it's common to grant our colleagues to introduce ourselves when attend a new meeting. Third, addressing people. Address new people by using title and family names properly is a good term in build a relationship in business with a Korean people. Fourth, eye contact. Generally, in Korean culture, they keep away from making eye contact with someone that will show respect, but literally different with business culture. In Korean, eye contact is important to show our honesty and trustworthiness. For don'ts, we have two. First, criticism. Do not critique or protest someone in front of public. It should be given in one-to-one person. Second, punctuality. In South Korea, if you want to make a business relationship with them, we should take serious about punctuality. Roles of Korean in the world economy. First, as a leader in global economy, South Korea is one of the countries that play important roles in global trade, some like China and Japan. Second, the giant global electronics. Samsung Electronics is the most desired electronic company in South Korea, which is the only electronic segment in the company. Samsung Electronics company dominated the smartphones market in the first quarter of 2017 and placed first position in global within 23.3% market share, compared to Apple was in the second position in global market with 14.7% market share. Third, the industry heavyweight. South Korea was the important auto manufacturer in global trade. Hyundai Motors is the company that is the fifth largest automaker in this world based on their annual sales shows 8.1% market shares in US.